Hey, nice you're here. Just wanted to say that unlike past years, I will not be posting anything for while I'm on my usual Christmas vacation. So content's just gonna stop for a little over a week. But I'll be back. Nothing bad's happening, just I'm not as far ahead on recording as normal. So yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy my break instead of trying to rush and record like 8 more videos all at once. Um, And that's all I've got in terms of announcements. I haven't picked out the games for after La Mulana 2 or Flowstone Saga yet. But I figured while I'm recording an end of the year thing, I might as well go over my gaming related year in review things that I've been sent by various companies. I'm not actually going to pull up the Nintendo one. I played Splatoon 3 Side Order and I played the new Zelda, and that's almost entirely it. But in terms of Steam, I mostly played incremental progress games actually. So yeah, my top three: Antimatter Dimensions, Bitburner, Unnamed Space Idol. Um, Antimatter Dimensions. As I scroll through these other segments, I guess actually I'm gonna stop on the radar here, um, and then I'll talk about the top five games in terms of playtime. So yeah, we had one of the incremental progress games I played was technically programming, so Idler is not the highest peak. It was split between Idler and programming. And then I of course played action roguelikes, roguelike deck builders. That's just stuff I do now. I wonder if Balatro is a roguelike deck builder, come to think of it. But I also played Estrella, where technically you're building a dice bag, not a deck, but takes a one half dozen of another, right? I've been playing Stardew Valley, of course, not just for the randomizer, but I've been playing with a friend going for Perfection File. I mentioned that several times as I was playing Stardew, I'm pretty sure. Didn't do a lot of community interactions. um, like, this would have, like, games reviewed, comments on things. Not very social with Steam. I like to play games. And then my social part of playing games is YouTube rather than Steam. But yeah, Antimatter Dimensions. It's an incremental progress game, so an idler like Cookie Clicker, and it is kind of the most idler. The numbers get silly. A bunch of systems come in as you go. But one thing is, it does have an end. So I'm done playing it. I don't see any reason I would pick it up again. So that's cool. It only takes, let me just pull up Steam and see how long it took. Um, I had 625 hours where I was actively playing, and it has offline progress. So, yeah, played it over the course of several months. Had a fun time. I did look up some builds. It does get kind of complex in terms of figuring out the best interactions. But yeah, I'm never gonna like feature this genre on the channel, but I play a lot, honestly. It's just an easy thing to do. Click a few upgrade buttons while you're eating or watching a stream. You know, and I got all the achievements because you kind of have to if you're gonna beat the game. Um, Bitburner. This is the programming-based incremental progress game. My precise playtime was 495 hours. This is one that doesn't do offline progress quite as well, if I recall. And also, it requires you to actually write a language that's very similar to JavaScript. I enjoyed some of the automation, and I enjoyed, there are a bunch of just like toy problems it has you solve. And if you can write a program that solves them, you can occasionally get like bonus currency of various types or reputation, just by having your computer scan for problems that have basically spawned in the world and then giving the solution to them. Let's see, I didn't quite like finish everything there was to do in the game, but I think I beat every challenge that starts in the game. Or not challenge, they're called nodes. It'll make sense if you play. But yeah, I didn't do the one that's themed around Go because I don't know the strategy of Go, so I'm not going to program a Go robot. um, yeah, I had fun with this. Another one that I don't see much reason I'd ever go back to. Unnamed Space Idol is a more straightforward idler game. You have a spaceship that automatically fights enemies. It goes up. I think I played this game last year too. So yeah, if I look at my playtime, it won't all be this year, unlike the other two. But I've enjoyed it. As it gets major updates, I play it, and then when I finish all the content in the game, I stop playing. And so there are a few spikes in places. See, The Void Rains Upon Her Heart. I did show one video of this, just a single run, because I was really enjoying it for the time I played it. I'm going to look up how long I did play it. The answer is 127 hours, and this is an actual video game that I played for that long. But yeah, it was the roguelike shoot 'em up. Where you play as the heart and you shoot at the monsters on the right side of the screen, or rather the fears of the monsters, if I'm being lore accurate. And we'll probably eventually see this on the channel once all the story mode plot is in. I don't want to feature it anymore right now, but I sure did get all the achievements that were in the game. There are a few more now. I don't have them yet. But as of like September or something, I'd finished all the achievements. I guess I can see what months I played it. Okay. I got the last ones, I guess, in August, and then I guess I played some in September. It says less than 1% of total playtime. Oh yeah, there's a sliver of blue there. But yeah, then an October update hit and it added a few more, or a couple more achievements, and then there was, I think, another update in November. So yeah, fun game, would recommend it. Rabbit and Steel, I also did a one-off video of this. This was the raiding roguelike, which had rabbits and classes, and you have to do a skill rotation as you're dodging stuff. Kind of very similar in that it's similar to The Void Rains Upon Her Heart, that is, in terms of being a roguelike where you do kind of shoot 'em up activities, especially if you're playing single player. But a very different feel, especially because this one has multiplayer and it changes in multiplayer. If you like the idea of raiding in an MMO but don't like the idea of preparing to raid in an MMO, maybe check this one out. See, I'm not too interested in showing off this chart, though the taller bars are where I was playing incremental progress games. Yeah. Then this color purple is, yeah, Unnamed Space Idol. And then the gray at the bottom that is usually a decent portion is just the other category. So, yeah, I play a variety of things, and so other tends to have some presence. No surprises here. My most played games were my most played games. I play video games pretty much every day, especially if I'm, yeah, like some days I'm just opening an incremental progress game, clicking on a couple things, and maybe just closing it. But yeah, my game playing streak was broken because I visited my parents on Easter, and then I visited my parents for my brother's birthday. Yeah, I'm not going to expand all of these months. These are the top 8 games of each month if I don't expand it. Cassette Beasts, this was my initial playthrough, not for the YouTube channel at this point. I thought I first played it in 2024. Am I just wrong? What? Maybe that was for the YouTube channel, but I thought, yeah, I was still on like Haiku the Robot, ZeroRanger, Psychonauts 2. Cassette Beast was midway through the year. I made a list of the 9 things that I did a YouTube playthrough of. just so that I would remember what they were, because I could just quickly go back through the playlists. Yeah, this Hollow Knight, I think I was streaming the Radiant clears. Um, Norp Apolog is actually yet another incremental progress game, but this one is at least short. You can beat the whole thing in like 12 or 13 hours. Fullstone Survivors is one of those Vampire Survivors like games. Factorio, I had decided I was going to beat a couple games that I had like left alone this year as like a New Year's thing. And Factorio was one of the two games I picked that I was like, I'm gonna pick that back up and finish it, even though I hadn't played it in over 4 months. So yeah, I played it. I launched the rocket. Cavern of Dreams is kind of a collectathon game. You could compare it to like Banjo-Kazooie, but it's kind of short, and I feel like the levels were not particularly interesting. Like you got explored, you solved a couple simple puzzles, but it kind of, the game was designed around an unkillable protagonist, so they didn't even like bother with placing enemies. And it kind of left worlds feeling a little empty. So yeah, if you really like that genre, it's probably an interesting game to check out. But oh, I should maybe scroll down a little more so it's not. I I'm looking at my browser, not looking at the preview, so I don't have much consciousness of where my webcam actually is. Um, but I just glanced over. Um, but yeah, fans of the genre, maybe check out Cavern of Dreams. It does some interesting things, but I wouldn't recommend it universally. Necess, I played it with my brother because it has like multiplayer online co-op, and we're often looking for games like that. Um, it probably oversells it if I say it's like a mix of RimWorld and Terraria. uh, yeah, that definitely oversells it. But it has like a town you manage. You give the villagers priorities and tasks, and they can craft stuff for you. So you can just like have them automatically stock up on your potions again. And like, it is a top-down game, so maybe Terraria wasn't the best run around and mine game I could have thought of. But you do a lot of mining, and you fight monsters and occasionally a boss. It was fine. Um, I think it was also still early access. There are probably going to be some good content updates in the future. I had fun, but I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it. Bitburner, I already talked about as part of the top 5. Balatro, of course. I probably don't need to say words about Balatro. Lone Fungus was a really good Metroidvania. Glad I played it. It has some cool platforming challenges and some cool movement mechanics. If you're really into platforming, then yeah, Lone Fungus. I feel like the moment to moment, just like running around normal areas, was maybe not the greatest. Like, it was fine. It wasn't like any worse than say like Haiku the Robot or Hollow Knight, but yeah. The platforming challenges felt like where the game really shined. Patch Quest, I of course streamed the challenge mode. Tales of Arise, I haven't finished. It's a Tales game, action RPG. I think I've put Tales of Berseria on the channel before. So yeah, then more Cassette Beasts. I guess I was still playing Blasphemous. I thought the last Blasphemous video, according to the playlist, let me just pop over here. Thought it said it was last updated in, yeah, January 15th. I must have just opened it to look at like relic names or something. That seems possible. Oh, but 2%? Who knows? And then Haiku the Robot, that was a series for the channel, so I probably don't need to talk about it. It was a fun Metroidvania. Still playing Bitburner, playing... I think there were actually times where I was playing 2 incremental progress games at the same time, like they were both open. I did that again this month, actually, with a unnamed space idol again, but playing Rusty's Retirement. which actually uses the robots from Haiku the Robot. It's the same developer. Um, but I got the like cozy games bundle or whatever it was called on Humble Bundle, and it had that in it. Still playing Balatro, Secrets of Grindia. I played off camera. It plays a bit like Secret of Mana, but it's in a world where they really value people that collect things, like monster drops. Uh, and it has a mechanic where if you stay in an area, monsters start spawning faster and faster. So if you are trying to grind for a drop and you're strong enough to deal with that, you can kind of grind it out pretty easily. I think it was fine if you want a top-down action RPG. Um, yeah, After Image, it was a Metroidvania. I don't really have much to say about it. It was fine. Psychonauts 2 was for the channel. Cassette Beasts, by now it might have been for the channel. Not sure. Still playing Assess. That one did take a while to get through because I only play with my brother for like a couple hours every Sunday evening. Let's see, new games showing up in April. Dungeon Drafters. It's a roguelite deck builder that was on the spider chart. Although this one leans more heavily into the roguelite part. You build your deck before you go into the dungeon. And also it's a like grid-based tactical sort of game, which adds a bit. You can like move out of the way of incoming attacks and such. Although unlike in say Ilena of the Arena, you don't like need a card to move. You spend one of your energy points instead of playing a card. There were certainly some interesting cards and enemies, and I never finished the game, so maybe not that interesting? I don't know, it got kind of difficult. Maybe I needed to go into like different deck genres. Let's see, Tiny Rogues, top-down action roguelite, bit of bullet hell going on. It was fine. I think I got all the endings that were in the game at the time. Still playing Balatro, still Cassette Beasts. Valfaris, I think this was when I streamed the attempts to get the last two achievements, the sub 10 deaths and the in under 2 hours, I think were the achievements. And I got them. Psychonauts 2 was for the channel. Sky, you kind of just fly around and collect stuff. It's a cozy game. There's like lore. Stuff happens at the end. Yeah, I kind of like tried to keep up with the like daily stuff for a while because it is kind of a mobile style game. It just also came to Steam. I mean, it was also free, so like if it sounds interesting, it's probably worth a look. Rabbit and Steel, this is when I played it because this is when it came out. I did try Hades 2 on early access. It was good. I found it more difficult than Hades 1, but that might just be because it's not Hades 1, and I'm good at Hades 1 by now. Still playing Balatro. Isles of Sea and Sky was for the channel. Tunic. Is this where I started the Archipelago? No, wait, I think I did some off-camera Archipelago at this point. Hollow Knight might have also been Archipelago by now. Sonic Adventure 2 is another one I play for Archipelago. Although maybe I was starting the all A's here. So yeah, that would have been for the channel at some point if it was the all A's. And I have shown Sonic Adventure 2 Archipelagos before, so you get it. Sonic Adventure 2 is a known game. Okay, this at least must have been where my Archipelago started up. We have Factorio and Tunic. I definitely stopped playing Factorio after beating it back earlier in the year. Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2, Cassette Beasts. Final Fantasy V, I did the 4-job fiesta this year. I don't know if I'm gonna do it in future years. Like, the only chatter I got was somebody that just, like, all their messages were backseating. They, like, came in, said that they'd done, like, 5 runs that year, and then their next, like, 8 messages were just commanding me to do things. In the imperative mood, even. I do enjoy the 4-job fiesta, though. Maybe we won't let one guy spoil it. I've been going 20 minutes. What? Backpack Hero. It's a game based on kind of arranging your backpack, and like things care about what they're next to, and then it's kind of a roguelike. I mean, it is a roguelike. I was about to say kind of a roguelike deck builder, but you don't like have to draw cards or anything. You arrange your backpack after battle based on rewards you get, and then you spend energy kind of like a roguelike deck builder. Like you activate your sword, and then your sword is like, okay, I have a base damage of 6, but I'm next to this gem that's adding 3 damage, and so I actually deal 9 per energy you spend, and yeah. You just set up so many synergies, and you win. Unless you are the frog, in which case you don't set up synergies and you lose. I'm kind of joking, but also I haven't beat it as the frog character yet. Wargroove 2, that was for the channel. Earth Defense Force 6, but played that with my brother. We haven't finished it yet. It's pretty long. It is kind of a silly third-person shooter. The plot's never silly, except for EDF World Brothers. I guess I have shown an EDF game on the channel before, so I probably don't have to talk too much about EDF 6. It doesn't have the swap mechanic from World Brothers, though. You're just one character, and you have multiple weapons that you can switch between. I play the Fencer class, actually, so I have 2 pairs of weapons, because they wield 1 in each hand. Chrono Arc is another roguelite deck builder. You actually assemble a party in this one, and there's a mechanic where the more cards you spend from a party member, the more expensive their cards get that turn, unless they have the keyword that makes them not do that. I'd like to play more of this. It has a plot. I didn't finish it. I met what might be a true final boss, but it destroyed me. I think I wasn't sufficiently aggressive, and it had this mechanic where like it deletes your cards as you play. I think it's like the first card you play each turn or something, and I kept playing the attacks first. At least I burned my good attacks too early before I realized how it worked. Anyway, it's a cool roguelite. Pseudo Rogalia, it's kind of like Cavern of Dreams in that it's like a collectathon, but it focuses really like a lot more on having cool movement and needing to do actual like wall runs and wall jumps and air dashes and stuff. There are enemies in it. You can die of damage, but the enemies were never really a big deal, besides like the first boss and the last boss. And I think the first boss is like the first combat you do in the game, and it really like that's kind of a wall, and then once you get past that, you're just kind of in a weird ruins, and you explore. It was cool. Let's see. Luck Be a Landlord. It's a roguelite where you assemble symbols into a slot machine, and almost like Backpack Hero, a lot of them have synergies if they come up next to each other, but rather than arranging it, you have a 5x5 grid of slot machine that they appear on. And then the rest of the stuff was either for the channel or like I did an Archipelago off camera. UFO 50, I showed a few games, but I played a lot of them off camera. It was good though. I definitely recommend UFO 50 to like anyone. Seeing more of the same here, so I guess we're speeding up as the year goes on. Seeing more of the same except for Estrella, which I showed a video of. It was yet another roguelite deck builder I played this year. Wow. Heavy is a Metroidvania. It focuses more on combat than anything else. I think it was good. I could kind of take or leave the plot. It's by the developer of Rabby Ribby. I feel like they made it a lot less bullet hell, but maybe it's just because I played on normal, and maybe they had a more reasonable set of difficulties this time. Rabby Ribby was, I think, super hard until I dropped down to whatever its like lowest difficulty was called. Well, I think I didn't drop down until the post game though, so maybe super hard is an exaggeration. I think they're both good games. They're slightly different from each other, though. If you liked Rabby Ribby, you don't necessarily like Tevi, especially if you like the plot to be cute. See, a lot of familiar games here. This Ninix or Ninix or whatever. It's just a like top-down looter shooter. You fly spaceships. It's being played because you can play it online co-op, and so I'm playing it with my brother. Let's see. Everything else here looking pretty familiar. Atlas, though, is an action RPG. It's in early access. There's not a whole lot to do yet. I actually played this not with my brother, but with my housemate. Because it's another online co-op game. And then Weaving Tides. How do you describe Weaving Tides? It's like not puzzle enough to be a puzzle game, even though there are puzzles. It's not shoot 'em up enough to be a shoot 'em up. There are enemies, you do fly around, you sometimes dodge stuff. You have a trail of fabric that you can like tie stuff down with. You attack by like diving into the floor and then diving into the floor somewhere else, and you tie your enemies down. You can also like stitch up the land by diving in and out. It's interesting. I haven't finished it because I only started it recently. I do expect to finish it. I don't think it's particularly long. But yeah, that's the things I played this year. And yeah, that's just all stuff about how to share the replay. Yeah, that's it. See you next year.